Welcome everyone to Citizen Climate Lobby Canada's third Standing Our Ground event. We began these in 2021 to help us nationally plan together at the beginning of the year. This one will be special because it's actually leading us up towards creating a strategic plan for 2024-2025. We haven't done a strategic plan because there's only been 2 years between elections in the last 2 election cycles, but we've got a full 4 years. So we spent 2022 and 2023 trying to figure out what this parliament was all about. And we started collecting ideas about where the puck was going, so to speak, with this parliament. And in October, we started with 2 really good questions, having facilitated discussions on how to grow our membership, active membership, and we continuing these discussions here tonight. And by June, we'll have a plan. So thank you everyone for being part of this. So our objectives tonight is to understand our niche in the climate movement and our history. And I'm doing it differently this year compared to the last 2 years. And we are going to relationship build as we prepare our 2024-2025 strategic plan. And of course, we're gonna shift trillions of dollars. That's what the whole goal of this is. There's a lot of good things happening. I just wanted to ask you, does anybody recognize that picture in the background? Anyone? Anyone ever seen this before? And Mark and Mary Blake, you're not allowed to say what it is.
I do.
Looks like herding cats.
It is, it's herding cats, okay?
It's a very cute commercial.
Yes, it's a very cute commercial about herding cats from the 1980s. It's something we showed at our 2015 conference, right before election 2015, and we howled and laughed hysterically watching it because this work often can feel like herding cats. So I encourage you to Google it and use it to help you motivate your volunteers who sometimes feel like they're herding cats, because it does feel like that. So our agenda tonight is we welcomed and we're doing introductions in the chats and land acknowledgements. To get to know each other a little bit better, we're going to have some reflections via photos, and we're going to watch a video. And then we'll think about the livable world and where we are in the climate movement through a word cloud. We'll affirm our focus. We're going to look back at 2023. Then we're going to do a breakout about how we can get people to file more action reports. And then I saw this video on Financial Times by Margaret Atwood, and I just decided it was us. I mean, so if you don't like to watch videos and get all serious, you can leave for about 10 minutes. And then afterwards, we're going to flash mob our own event. So those of you who want to like entertain the rest of the group, you'll stay behind where everybody actually do take a break, and then we're going to perform for them. And then we're going to do look at our roadmap, what we have already planned for 2024, 2025, not that there'll be more. And then talk about our Canada's national action teams, how to join. We'll do SWOT analysis for 2024, 25, and then what comes next. So with a little bit of a photos here. This was 2011 on Parliament Hill. I brought 3 youth from Sudbury who wanted to get arrested alongside many other people. It was a it was a coordinated arrest. It was very choreographed. So if they jumped over the fence, then they would be arrested. And it was very coordinated. People went up in groups of 6 all day long, and the rest of us bore witness. It was pretty remarkable to watch. And there was a few other CCLers as well. One thing, we should have wore our Facebook profiles on our t-shirts, because that's how we all knew each other at that point. And so a lot of us were there and didn't know that other people were there. So there was about 30 CCLers there, and I only could see about 5 of them. And this is Tom and Katerina and Kathy Lacroix and Cheryl in the Canadian Embassy. And this is us that's in about 2013. And this is us a year and a half ago on Parliament Hill, after we'd made a giant dream catcher, which we're hoping to do this year. Now we have a bunch of pictures, and you can either add to them if you want, or go out into breakout rooms and get to know each other for about 5 minutes and see if you recognize any of these, because most of you can have co-host, one of you can share your screen. But just like, we had a costume party at our very first national conference, and well, Yannick came as somebody from Avatar. Hi. Does anyone have any stories they want to share before we continue? Did you hear any good ones?
Well, we had an interesting group with two beginners. I was one of them, and two really experienced people. So that was a great opportunity to hear what CCL's been doing and so forth.
Beautiful. Anyone else?
I enjoyed hearing from Kim Charlesworth about lobbying her MP, who's a Green, or MPP. Wait, which? Okay, you both, yes. But about how sometimes lobbying somebody who seems like, well, obviously they're going to agree with what we're saying. She said that he was so happy to hear from CCL because he has to do what his constituents want, and hearing from constituents who want action on climate change is exactly what he wants to hear.
Nice. Anyone else? Go ahead, Katerina.
I enjoyed hearing from Roberta. She's one of the new people, and she's a physics teacher, and she's helping make the climate change curriculum more understandable for our teachers so that they can teach our students. So I think that's an awesome thing to do.
Fantastic. Doug, go ahead, just jump
Keith
in.
and I just talked about biking. Lots of fun.
Of course. I would have talked about biking if I was on your call too. I biked 1,500 kilometers last summer. It was so much fun.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else?
In our room, we basically just got to know each other a little better. It's the first time I'd met Gladys at two recent meetings, but first time got to know Ethan, so that was kind of nice.
Cool. And that was one of the big take-home messages when we got together in October, how to grow our membership and how to strengthen our work. It's to keep developing our relationships. That's one of our core values. It's what makes us strong.
I'm Mary Blake. I'm one of Kathy's helpers. And one project we're working on right now is putting together a new introductory video for new CCL volunteers. And so Dr. Jane Pritchard had sent in this video clip of her story and why action on climate change is so meaningful and so important to her. So I thought we could listen to this.
My name is Jane Pritchard, and I'm a family physician. I'm very concerned about the mental health of some of the youth and young adults in my practice. While they're negotiating the usual problems of that age, of relationships and economics and education, they seem to have a sense of despair about their future, as though they cannot imagine themselves on this planet in 10 or 20 years because of the condition of that planet due to climate change. My concern is the risk of self-harm and even of suicide in such a state of despair, unless we can make sure that they can see that they're part of the change. It's not enough, though, just to promise them jobs in the green economy, because they distrust adults and they've seen politicians' promises being broken. They need to be engaged earlier on in the process with their fresh way of looking at things and their energy. And all politicians have youth and young adults amongst their close relationships and are concerned for their welfare. And so I think this is a way that we can reach them. I've been involved with CCL for several years, and I'm very grateful for the high quality scientific information that we have about climate change and solutions, and also for the camaraderie and mutual encouragement of the group.
So as we reflect on, well, as we all reflect on why we got involved with CCL and why we continue to be involved, it's also important to remember that we are not alone. Canada exists in a macrocosm of countless environmental and social justice movements pushing for a livable world for all. So let's take a moment to each think about all of the groups that are working to create the political world, the political will for a livable world. And why are we doing this exercise? Because we are warriors fulfilling the first rule of warriors, which is to prevent war. The second rule of warriors is to know the landscape upon which you are battling. So,
Sorry, what's the question for?
so the question is just any environmental or social justice groups you can think of that are working to create the political will for a livable world, however you want to define that.
And this is ones that we are members of or work
No,
closely
just
with?
anyone and any groups that come to mind.
Oh.
We're just we're reflecting on the fact that we're not alone and that there are many groups doing a lot of good work and that we're part of this landscape. We don't have to be the whole landscape.
Okay, so it says it's full now.
Mhm.
Yeah, wow, that didn't take long. I didn't realize it had a limit. But yeah, there are countless environmental organizations. So thank you, Mary Blake. All right. And just doing a review of our work, we are a climate organization that exists to create the political will for a livable world by enabling individual breakthroughs in the exercise of their personal or political power. And we are organized. I'm sure you've belonged to groups before. They're fun, they're chaotic, they have all sorts of ideas floating around, but they're exhausting. And sometimes their productivity is not all that high because it's really hard to be organize all this stuff when it comes in chaotically, so it'll give out little input. So we are highly organized. We now have 2 part-time staff. Yay, the first time. And we have a monthly rhythm. And you have been so awesome at making sure that emails are for yes, no, or meet me here. Thank you. This has changed so much over the past 3 or 4 years. Our project management uses the best practices. We have timelines, job descriptions, not too many projects up at the air. If you have an event, we try to give at least 6 weeks notice so you can start putting things together and talking things through. And we are highly focused and organized because you are a precious resource. And our work is based on a theory of change. I was given this paper in 2010 when I first started this work. It's no longer online, but it's basically how to motivate politicians to action. And it's also the work of Sam Daly Harris, and it's also from results that if you get people really organized by constituency or riding, you can affect change. This is well known. And our founder of Citizens Climate Lobby, Marshall Saunders, loved Canada and the work we did. And he also made us sing "Oh Canada" at a conference once in front of the whole group in the USA. And the year it was becoming very obvious that we were going to get the policy that Marshall Saunders so wished for the whole world to have, with a fee on pollution and the price and the money back to the people. He sent us this message right before that conference, and it was in our conference booklet, thanking us for our efforts that we put forth this year and for everything you have achieved. It hasn't been an easy one for those south of the border. This was when Donald Trump had been elected, but your success gives us hope. And with Canada's national carbon pricing law looking more and more like it could be carbon fee and dividend, you remind me just how powerful our grassroots efforts really are. And grassroots know no borders. Our energy and passion have catalyzed positive change in many countries since we began this adventure to build the political will for a livable world. And I continue to be in awe of this beautiful international partnership. We are in over 50 countries. I am helping people in Tel Aviv and in Bucharest, Romania, with bringing climate income policies directly to their government officials. Like they are being heard because they are associated with us. You made that happen the way you did things in Canada and all of our colleagues across the planet. They're being heard and it's just amazing. And anyways, best of luck as you continue to push things forward on Parliament Hill this week. You are making the impossible possible, and I'm so grateful for you. I wish you could have met Marshall. Incredible human being. He passed away around Christmas time in December 2019. But how do we know we're working from a theory of change? Because we actually got what we lobbied for, and we continue to get what we lobbied for. More checks more installments per year, we finally got it out of our, the rebate out of our income tax. And in 2018, we worked so hard. This was an incredible lift. This was our most powerful year, and we got what we lobbied for. And if we get things right, 2024 and 2025 are going to look an awful lot like 2018 again, especially this year. But to do that, we need terms of reference so that, and I know that's, I know it's a business term and stuff like that. And it's fun to be, not so strict in everything, but it's been, people have been asking for help with keeping their volunteers in our guardrails. So we're going to spend the next 5-10 minutes looking this over. And if anything is off-putting, just tell us. If you don't like it, you can privately text me something. You can put something in the chat, or you can just stop me, okay, as we read this through. So there's
It's James. I have a comment on the first item. Like our local chapter has been doing a lot of stuff. I think at times it's kind of been in the leave behind, but if we're doing provincial lobbying, which, depending on how things go, there might be more of it in the future. Like usually that stuff isn't in the handout or in the leave behind. So maybe we should think about that just being, I don't know exactly what it would be, but like obviously lobby for something that CCL is advocating for and supportive of, but maybe the leave behind is a bit restrictive.
Yeah, right now, Manitoba and Ontario are consulting with us on developing their leave behind asks. So it'd be really helpful to know what Quebec is lobbying for, just so we don't cross wires. And then we, develop some sort of standard. Just want to make sure that we stay in our lane, so to speak. And so is it likely to move your province down the track towards a livable world? Is there support for it? Is it in alignment with our policies? Like it doesn't have to be revenue neutral. We don't, or the revenue recycling, we don't want to get hung up on, but we don't want to be for or against any sort of revenue recycling programming, if you know what I'm saying, at the provincial level. So I liked what you did last time, James. Your group said you wanted more transparency on how the revenue was being recycled in Quebec. That's awesome.
Yeah, and maybe, I don't know what we'll do on that in the future because they've kind of wrapped up a consultation. But maybe we need multiple leave behinds, you know what I mean? A federal leave behind and then different provincial ones.
Yep.
I guess my comment is just to make sure we're not blocking people from doing provincial advocacy.
Oh yeah, we just want to make sure that we're all on the same page. That's all.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Cool.
So, and like gives like 4 to 6 weeks for that to happen. Like just right now with Manitoba, it took us a while to get to the leave behind ask because we had to really explore it with this new government. But we're there, and you'll see it soon, maybe by March.
Thanks.
It takes a while. Great question. Anyone else? So this is really exciting. On the left is January 2023, and on the right is January 2024. So what do you see? What are some of the things you see in these two graphs here that jump out at you?
Lots of light blue.
Yeah, lots of light blue. Yeah, we're really starting to work with media. And tonight, just for fun, I got on cross-country checkup.
Oh,
But you know, like, but this isn't me. This is all of you submitting those media releases, coming out to the media co-working space. This is a lot of, you know, so we have a media strategy this year. Last year, I think we only had 10 media releases, if that, maybe 9 it was. The year we had over 700 LTEs. I counted we had something like 25 media releases. So this year we're on having a goal to put out at least 2 national media releases every single month. And we also have a media co-working space to help you all. But do you see anything else?
I am having a little trouble reading it, but it
Oh.
seems to me the scale is completely different from 2023 and 2024.
Oh yeah, exactly. Almost more than double the number of actions.
Right. So that so for example, if you look at lobbying just by the image, it looks like we've lost a lot of lobbying. No, actually, it's about the same. But I'm just wondering if that could be presented so they are at the same scale, because I think that's huge. There's a lot of everything that's increased.
So we're off to a great start in January, is what I hope you're seeing. Having Mary Blake and Mark join and help get things more, have more action teams and also help with just making things happen is showing things are happening. So that's great. Like even this contact with legislature, you guys are, and ladies and gentlemen, y'all are doing a great job with that, because we didn't have a digital campaign. So that all being said, the next graph is like this. All right. So since we can't really chase you down for action reports, I just want to give you a little bit of a pep talk, and then maybe we can think about how we can increase the number of actions filed in the action tracker. So the bad players in the fossil fuel industry who are spreading disinformation and threatening our democracy have more financial resources than our government. Politicians, exemplary volunteers looking for a place to hang their hat. Funders and media take note of highly organized volunteers. And in fact, we've got a little bit of an angel funder. So metrics will be really important this year because he might keep donating if we keep producing. Anyways, our social media capital can overcome the financial capital of, sorry for the bad word, but it's not such a bad word, the arseholes. Our capacity to record our action impacts our ability to generate political will, fund angel funders, and get media attention. So I would like for a 5-minute breakout, no, just 3 minutes. Just think of ideas about how we can increase the number of actions filled in the action tracker. Somebody take notes and then just cut and paste the answers in the chat, and then we will, and if anything big comes out, then you just tell me. And sorry I swore, and sorry I should have labeled the behavior, not the person. I know better, but this is between us, okay? So I'm going to put you back into breakout rooms, and the question is, how can we increase the number of action reports filed?
This is just the main page of the site. So to access the action tracker, you can go to Tools at the top, or there's this big button here, and it'll just be the top left action tracker. You select that. where this takes you is to recent actions for your local chapter first. So you can kind of see the actions by date and who did them. To get to that sort of graph area that Kathy was showing, you can hit the action dashboard. It'll pop up with the actions from your local chapter. You can see the numbers here, and you can also do it by province, by the full country, in which case we see the full picture here, or even worldwide stats as well. So that all gets highlighted there. And then in case anybody doesn't know, this is also where you can log an action. So this would be the log an action button just on the left there.
Yeah, show them again, because this graph is so empowering. So you just hit action. So when you get to action tracker, I'm sorry, I don't mean to repeat myself, but as a teacher, I know you need to say things at least 5 times. Okay, so so you go to connect and go to action tracker, and then you hit action dashboard, and then you can click on your group, your province, and all of Canada and the world. And let's just take a look at lobbying around the world. They only had can you look for just 2023 for just do the 2023 last year? Yep.
Last year. Yeah, so worldwide, let's see, 1,336 lobbying events, and then about 3,500 media publication options there. And then if we look at Canada right now, last year, you can see kind of how much of that we make up there. So I think we're doing fairly good in terms of some of this, if you consider kind of our population comparatively.
Call the bluff.
I would like to flash mob our own event. I'm looking for 6 people to practice reading this poem by Amanda Gorman. So you'll have to open up another screen while you're on the screen, and then we'll read it and we'll try to record it.
The following is an excerpt of Earthrise by Amanda Gorman, the first Youth National Poet Laureate in the USA. Just as we chose to go to the moon, we know it's never too soon to choose hope. We choose to do more than cope.
With climate change, we choose to end it. We refuse to lose. Together we do this and more. Not because it's very easy or nice, but because it's necessary. Because with every dawn we carry the weight of the fate of this celestial body orbiting a star.
And as heavy as that weight sounded, it doesn't hold us down, but it keeps us grounded, steady, ready, because an environmental movement of this size is simply another form of Earthrise. And
to see it, close your eyes. Visualize that all of us leaders in this room and outside of these walls or in the halls, all of us change makers are in a spacecraft, floating like a silver raft in space, and we see the face of our planet anew.
We relish the view. We witness its round green and brilliant blue, which inspires us to ask deeply, wholly, what can we do? Open your eyes. Know that the future of this wise planet lies right in sight.
Right in all of us. Trust this earth uprising. All of us bring light to exciting solutions never tried before. For it is our hope that implores us at our uncompromising core to keep rising up for an earth more than worth fighting for.
Okay, so thank you. That's beautiful. I hope it filled your soul. All right, so now, what are we doing? How are we going to get there? What are we doing in the next 2 years? Well, this is our January 2024 version, and I'm sure it'll change a couple more times. There's a road in the middle, and then there's a couple of keys in the upper right-hand corner and down in the back here. And then there's some images here to help us see the full picture. So I wanted to remind everybody, let's go over to the upper right-hand corner, that according to the IPCC, advanced economies like Canada are to get to true net zero by 2040. I wanted to remind everyone that there are 3 Charter 7 cases in front of the courts right now in Charter 7 under the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms. So a right to a livable future is happening federally and provincially in Ontario and Saskatchewan. As well, there will be all these quarterly payments from the Climate Action Incentive for those of us living in provinces. So this will keep reminding everybody and be educational opportunities. I'm going to talk about this. We have a proposed project where we'll get individuals, NGOs, and businesses to support the Greenhouse Gas Pollution Pricing Act. We won't call it that, but we'll have some sort of open letter like we did in 2015 and get as many people to sign over the next year and a half. So no matter what happens at election 2025, if that's when it happens, the government will know there's support. We'll do more provincial lobbying. And why are we doing this? It's because the provinces actually control a lot of the energy files. So the more we can make leaders out of our provinces, the better. And it also helps us build political will locally. And you know what? Just to remind everyone, every single month we meet and we get in action and we learn from each other. And it's awesome. These monthly meetings are just set in stone with us. But I wanted you to now look in the bottom left-hand corner, and sorry, you can't see all of it. So Citizens Climate International has launched a climate income working group, and we have people from over 30 countries that are working with us to build political will for climate income specifically across the planet. We are networking within the Climate Action Network. I'm particularly on 2 subcommittees, well, kind of a subcommittee. I'm working on disinformation campaign in one subcommittee, and I'm also seeking other organizations that want to use the evidence-based way of getting people to vote like in election 2015. We have a media strategy. We are revamping, sorry, I can't even read that. I'm gonna just minimize that, sorry. I can't read it. We are revamping our onboarding at Citizens Climate Lobby Canada, and we're developing a strategic plan. So, I mean, and then as we go down the road here, we have provincial lobbying in Toronto in February. We have a breakfast with our MLAs in April. So right out of the gate, we're going to get a lot of lobbying in. We have our June conference in Ottawa, and then we also will be attending the June conference in Washington, D.C. with a potential of doing something there. I'll keep you posted. I don't want to make any promises until I get more commitment from our international colleagues. I'm seeing on various chat groups I'm in, there should be Global Day of Action in May because there's an election at the European Union and they really want to build political will for evidence-based climate action across the planet in the lead up to the European Union elections. And we get these payments, and then there's usually a Global Day of Action around Climate Week at the UN. And then this year, really important, COP29 in Baku, Azerbaijan, the climate COP is going to be on like getting the finances flowing. So there's going to be a lot more financial commitments this year. So if we can keep pushing for carbon pricing, we'll be doing well. And I'm assuming that there's a presidential election right before the COP29. And then I want to do a small foray to Parliament Hill in December, just to test the waters, because I want to be able to bring the intelligence that I gain and that we gain at CCL Canada to Ottawa, but also to members who want to go there. And we can also Zoom you in if you don't have the bandwidth or the if you don't want to travel hopefully snowy highways in December, in 2025, Canada is going to be the G7 president. We'll probably have a spring conference. There will always a global day of action in September, and we anticipate a federal election probably in the fall. And we're going to hope for less pollution in December 2025 compared to right now. And these are other provincial elections and just the details about the federal election. Up here at the back is to yeah, go ahead, Tim. Great.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I can talk when you're done.
Okay, great. So over here, it's just to remind everybody, like we've committed to triple our renewable energy and double our efficiency. So this is happening. We've got tons of things happening within the biodiversity realm. So things are really shifting. Somebody at our conference reminded us that we need to bring love to the work that we do. So yep, we're doing that. And also there's lots of stuff happening with the home heating pumps and the changes in vehicles, as well as all of our work in the city. So this is the macrocosm on which we're working in. So, and I had fun making this. Can you tell? So any questions or comments or ideas? And you're muted.
Can't believe after 2 years, still muted. Wondering if it's that chart is really inspiring in terms of, excuse me, a long-term plan and gives people motivation, an idea of what's ahead and that there is stuff ahead. Is it possible that something like that could be included in action sheets? Is there anything kind of proprietary for this group about that? Because I found it personally very inspiring.
Cool. Yeah, you can totally have it. And maybe we can create a PDF too, so you can print it. Because it's a very high quality image. I made it on a software program, not like something online, something I bought long ago. So thank you. I'm so honored.
But
And
if it
Mark,
could,
I'll try to remember
could it
that.
be included in action sheets so everybody gets to see it?
100%. We'll put it in this month's action sheets and we'll link it to a PDF. So if you want to print it, you can get a better quality. Yes, and a poster for your walls. Yeah, like we used to have like rock stars up on our walls. That's awesome. I'd be so honored. Okay, now I'm going to have to go in and nudge around things because there are some imperfections in there. Okay, anything else? Oh, that's so sweet.
Spray
Oh, I
paint.
forgot to tell you, we have commercials. We're going to be doing commercials again. We're going to repurpose, like we have a whole comms thing. We're going to be repurposing the commercials that we made 7 years ago. We're just going to dub over audio and switching things around. And we know, so anyways, excited about that. Okay, anybody else? Okay. Okay, this last bits is thinking and then appreciation. All right. Okay. So we do have national action teams. Yes, we ask you to, focus locally, but some of you like to do bigger things like with the national group. So we developed this, the 4 Fs, so we don't F-bomb. So we're focused on lobbying, but we support many things. We're fruitful, and we're in action, and we're organized, and we track the data, and we're fun. Humans crave connection and meaning, and, so we don't have these super long emails with each other. It's been great. And there's a theory of change and everyone has a role in what we're doing. So these are our national action teams. And, they generally fall under they all fall under the 5 levers of political will. So every single month, Mark puts together the action sheets with all of your support. You give suggestions and I help them. Every provincial and federal lobbying ask has a leave behind. They take 2 to 3 months to develop. So our federal leave behind will be developed probably in April. So look for that in the action sheets. We have a Senate lobbying team. If you want to be on the Senate lobbying team and lobby senators with us, and you're not on the team, please put your name in the chat right now and we will capture that. We set up educational calls. So yeah, if you wanted, co-host something with us, or help us, figure out who to bring on educational calls, that'd be great. We do climate advocate training. That's our official training. We have our media co-working space. We have people working on conferences in both Ontario and Manitoba and soon to be federally. We're developing an onboarding team. So that's like basically Mary Blake, Mark, and myself, as well as James has agreed to help a little bit. That's to like help with nurturing emails and stuff like that. We have a digital campaigns team. You know, those letters that we send out, you know, we work on those take a while. There's also the parliamentary petitions team. There's both paper and digital. Like, we don't just do them, we actually plan them out. They take a lot of time, but they are worth it. We have provincial teams. We have an En-ROADS team. Like, a lot of people are En-ROADS trained and know that on the international side of things, we're training people to give a simple En-ROADS policy simulator presentation and then encouraging them to go get the full ambassadorship into, as part of their work there. And we are actually training youth here in Sudbury to give En-ROADS presents. We have trained youth in Sudbury to give En-ROADS presentations to fellow high school students, and they will be doing a pilot project this spring. We also work on the climate aligned finances. There's people who do motivational interviewing. There's those who like to write laser talks. And then there's these policy wonk teams, because this stuff is really complicated with the output-based carbon pricing and on the clean electricity regs and the emission caps and keeping track of all that. And they keep us on track, and I'm so grateful for them. So we have a development team is basically people that will do fundraising, people just keeping their eyes on the fossil fuel non-proliferation treaty. We are going to make this website this year. I've been actually changing the Canadian website, and that's helping us. This website's going to launch this spring, at the near the same time as the commercials. Always need support with the youth, doing comms, and that letter that I told you about, want to do that. And then there's one last thing I want to do is make a policy checklist for what we would like to see during the election. So like a very simple checklist from all the parties, like, do you support UNDRIP? Do you support free and prior informed consent? Do you support you know, helping our local media? Do you, because all these things are really critical for democracy, in addition to there being, you know, do you support evidence-based climate action? Will your climate policies be economically and socially just vetted? So I want to put together a checklist on what we would expect from the federal parties. And we retired Team Zevo, which did some amazing work, and nobody stepped forward to lead a conservative action team, but if you want to, you can. So I've changed.
I'm impressed at the volume of activity. I had no idea. Like, are we moving forward like productively on all those fronts, Kathy?
Mark, we're usually only juggling about 5 or 6 of those at a time. Like, they're not always at once.
But some of those of us here tonight and people who aren't on this call tonight are on those teams, pushing those things forward.
Yep.
Okay.
So right now
I didn't know about that at all.
Yeah, so right now we don't have a parliamentary petition team. Right now we don't have a whatever. Yeah, they've usually got about 5 or 6 balls up in the air. Like right now we're getting ready to lobby in June. We've got lobbying in Manitoba, got lobbying in Toronto. And that website I've been working on for a long time. It's in my head. It's starting to shape, and Mary Blake and I have been slowly working on the commercials. And Mark has taken so much work off my hands with the laser talks and the action sheets. So yeah, and the Senate action team, like we do it. We do a lot. We're impressive. Thank you. Anybody else?
I shared in the chat earlier tonight a little clip from this hour has 22 minutes about carbon pricing and the carbon messaging. So it's a good CCL thing to watch.
Okay, definitely watch it. I'll put those out in the notes to everybody. Thank you. Laughing is important. But Mark, we're really organized. That's kind of my background. I have a master's degree in physiology, and physiology is like the biology of engineering. So like I look at everything as just like I can just see it, right? Like I was the kid in my family who would make a 10-course meal for 25 people at age 13. Like, it's just the way I was. It's, it seems like a big giant ball at first when you try to do something. You're like, how am I gonna lift this? And then you start doing it. It's like, oh, I can hold it. And before you know it, you're juggling a whole bunch of things at once. I saw that image. I thought it was really cool. Okay, so I think we're good. So you see the action teams, any of them, like look for them in the action sheet. Sometimes we're announcing them, come to meetings. If any of them like interest you, like email me. If you ever want to do a parliamentary petition or a digital campaign, let's talk it through because those things take time, but we love to do them.
So Kathy, should we log this meeting as an action? And if so, what action should we all log it as? Or should it be one, not everybody?
Oh, I think we should all do it as one, our own. I was going to do that actually. And I
Oh,
actually
perfect.
have the instructions too. But I just wanted to close with this. A dear climate concerned politician who's also conservative, who we absolutely adore. We met with him a couple of years ago, and he's in a riding that will always vote conservative. And we asked him, how do we create the political will for evidence-based climate action? And he said, you need to win the hearts and minds of the people in your riding. Marshall Saunders bent the ranch on us. So merci, miigwech, and thank you for being part of his team.